So back in those days, you could get arsenic at the pharmacy from just a written script. I can't even get aspirin nowadays, man. This is nuts, man. Must have been a wild time to live back then. Hello, my ghouls and ghosts, and welcome to my review and the breakdown of the season finale of season 1 of Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire. Only on AMC and AMC Plus. Now, if you're watching this, you've probably already been spoiled. You've probably seen it all. So it's safe for me to say that this is the last time they're going to be using New Orleans as a setting for quite some time. We know they return to it, but it'll be a while before they do that, and we're going to be seeing greater and more interesting things go on, especially with the Great War coming. And they decide in the show and mentally outside of the show to give us a wonderful set-off for New Orleans. Not only does this episode depict a New Orleans Mardi Gras style aristocrat party, which is something very few people have seen, probably few people who watch this have ever seen, but this is not only an old school one, but it is so over the top and so insane, and they go into the New Orleans Mardi Gras culture. For instance, in this episode, they end up paying for the rights to make Lestat the king of Mardi Gras. There's a special word for it, I don't know it. And apparently it's something that's so important to them, they pick it years in advance. And I gotta say, it was beautiful. And one thing this series is very good at, well, it's good for many reasons, but it's very good at being beautiful. Just like Anne Rice's novels. This depicting of visually beautiful and stunning moments, anything from them walking in the park at night to having these galas, it just makes this show very special in a way that I feel like very few other shows do. So let's break this down. I'm gonna have to ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe as long as you're here. It really helps the channel out. So the episode starts in a very macabre, interesting kill, and so that's part of the genre of vampires. We kind of tune into vampire stuff for many reasons, and one of them is the interesting ways to kill or catch your victims. And it starts off with a man strapped with his arm across the board, and they're draining his wrist of blood into wine glasses, and they're drinking it like it's wine, and they're at a wine and cheese party. And I'm like, and if the scene could get any weirder, it even goes into the morbosity, if that's a word, of Lestat talking about the different ways vampires can permanently be killed, separated from their spirit, as he says. And it's obviously very fitting. Spoiler alert, it's foreshadowing something that's going to happen. And so they're there, and of course they sense something outside. Someone's dilly-dallying outside their house. Now, for the last couple episodes, they've been getting weird chalk writing on their floor, and sometimes they find like voodoo dolls and stuff. And what that is that some practitioners of voodoo down in New Orleans have caught on to them. They're aware of what's going on, and they're kind of being like, "We know you are the devil. Leave." It's almost a warning sign from a mage, being like, "Go away." But this is not what this is. This is a different type of attention that they don't like. See, a man was dropping a letter off. They grab the man, they bring him in, and they read the letter. And this is a man who has cancer. And he's on his way out, and he knows that these three people, somehow, he's been watching them, don't age. They have the secret of immortality. And he's asking them, "I believe you're angels. I believe you're good people. Please share with me this immortality." And Lestat immediately murders him. And he says something so awesome. He says, voodoo dolls and letters will quickly turn into pitchforks and torches. Meaning that the peasants are getting sick of their evil ways, and they are going to burn down their castle sooner than more than later. And so he quickly is like, "We got to get out of here." And so this allows, not only is the inciting incident of the episode and finale, but this opens the gates for Claudia to outthink him and outmaneuver him. The game is afoot, and as we know, Claudia wants to kill him. She clearly declared that. I personally wish they had kind of made it a little more subtle what she was planning. They really heavy-handedly have the character literally say to somebody, "We should kill Lestat." I don't love that, but it is what it is. And they concoct such a crazy plan, and what it is they want to throw this gala, this Mardi Gras gala, and they want to bribe a lot of people to get Lestat to be the king of Mardi Gras, and he gets right in a float, and it's super elaborate, and we kind of I felt like I was transported to a world I've never been to before. It was just so beautiful. It was so cool. They wear all white and these weird masks in there, and they're living it up. It really is. What do they call it? A bacchanal? I think that's a wild, crazy orgy from back in the Roman days. Yeah, it really was like that they were just having fun, drinking and going nuts, and they looked like they were all on some sort of wonderful drug. The humans too. It was a wonderful sequence of events. Lestat, playing off of his theater day vampire days, he pretends to be a vampire on his float, and somebody brings him a baby, and it looks real at first, and he bites it, and then ticker tape comes out of it, and it's really just a piñata. And so it was cute, and it's fun, and they're having all this fun. And so another notable thing that happens during their party is that they decide to test the boundaries of the social norms, right? So we've got white men dancing with half black peasant girls who are not his daughter, and that made them feel uncomfortable. And then they've got Louis and Lestat dancing, and that made them feel uncomfortable. And then they decide to top it off, and they're like, you know what? We're lovers, and we're gonna kiss in front of you. And they have a very passionate, romantic kiss on the dance floor, and people are just like, And so remember, this is Mardi Gras. It is in New Orleans. This is the perfect blend of people who are so uptight they cannot deal with it, with people who are accepting of that and know how it is, and they're like, well, they know how to party. These guys are living that dream. The plan is simple. During their party, they're going to go around, and they have these little flowers, and they're putting them on the lapels of people that they're inviting to the after party. They're the only ones who are going to this private party in their house, and they say, if you want to know the secret of our immortality, you will come. Now, obviously, this is some sort of gimmick. I don't think half the people who showed up really thought the secrets of immortality can be revealed, but they were still playing into the characters that they were on the float. And this is the essence of Mardi Gras. I absolutely love it. And they go to this after party, and they're revealing their real ages, and they're really telling real truths about themselves. And people are like, what is the secret? And the secret is human blood. But when that comes to be, they are attacking all these people. And so the whole premise is Claudia has slipped drugs, she said, to the twins who showed up to the thing. And when they get Lestat to drink from it, the poison will go into him. He'll have drunk from a corpse. He'll become sick and messed up, and that's when they can kill him. And they've killed everyone. They've slaughtered everyone. It's a lovely bloodbath in the way only this show can do it. And what you want to see from your vampire fiction, you want to see these bloodbaths. There's great kill from Claudia where she's like acting like a sweet girl, and she's cornering a guy. He knows he's about to die, and she leaps. She does the vampire leap, and she hops on him, and she looks like a baby doll attacking a human. And it's like this perfect combination of like cheesy but like beautiful and cool. And she sucks him dry, of course. And so they're down to the last twin, and they want Lestat to drink from him. And right before this happens, they get jumped. Now Lestat is apparently on to them, and so he has his lover. That's right. Remember the girl in my last review I said they should have killed? Yeah, she came back to haunt them. Lestat has made her a vampire. She's been spying on them and reading their minds, and so he's known what's going on. And they have a scuffle, one-on-one scuffle between Louis and Lestat and his girlfriend and Claudia, and they seem to lose, and it looks like it's over for them, for our heroes. And then Lestat begins to throw up violently blood, and he's in pain, and that weakens the resolve and the composure of his girlfriend, which allows Claudia to beat her down and then literally take a hot poker and pin her to the floor. I love that moment. And as he's dying, I knew what was going on as soon as he started throwing up, but I love that they did this. And this just proves that Claudia is the better chess player. Claudia poisoned more than one person. She also poisoned another person that she knew Lestat hated. And she didn't tell Louis, because she knows that he is probably too weak to go through with it. She didn't want him to ruin it. He didn't get that information. So she says, well, I better poison more than one person. And that was the fact that she didn't discuss it with him is what allowed that secret to go through. And it was wonderful. She's literally mocking Lestat as he dies. I love that thing. She's making voices and she's joking around. And ultimately she takes out her last words diary that she's been recording for years, all the last words of her victims. And she takes a pen and dips it in his blood. And she writes his last words, which is, Louis, put me in my coffin. Louis. It's gone. There was a touching moment there while he was still squirming around, and it's beautiful. Lestat has him like that. He's holding him the way a mother would hold a sick child, right? And he's just holding him, and then he just pulls out a knife. And Lestat's trying to explain how he loves him, and he's just like, ear to ear, blood everywhere. It was beautiful. Maybe I should see a therapist. Anyway, this is where the third wall breaks, and we go back to the meta of it. Daniel interviewing him. The main thing comes down to, where do you hide the bodies? Where are you putting the bodies? They're like, we're burning all the bodies, except for Lestat's, which we put in a suitcase and we put it in the trash. And he's like, well, you did that on purpose. And he's like, no, I didn't. And they start getting into an argument. And apparently, like in the story he's telling, Claudia was totally fine with it, but in her diary, she was not fine with it. It's very obvious. Daniel's able to decipher. He's like, you tried to hide this information from me, but she was mad at you. Comes down to this. Daniel figures it out. He says, you let him go to the dump because there are all these rats around the dump. And you knew that he would be able to drink from the rats and regain his strength. You basically spared his life, and you didn't take it. And he's refuting this, and he's angry, and he's trying to storm off. And then that's when Daniel decides to grow a pair. And he even confronts the thing about Rashad. Rashad's trying to break up the interview, and he's like, yo, and by the way, I know something's up with this dude. Because, as he said, I've seen you drink from, guys who are 250 pounds, and they pass out within the first second or two. Rashid is like 150, and you are drinking gallons from him, and he's totally fine. What's with that? And obviously he's connecting to the fact that he knows something weird is going on with his abilities. And then they leave us on what is supposed to be the shocker of the episode, and it is that Rashad starts to fly, and he shows that he is the vampire Armand. And so I think this theory was floating around the internet for a while now, or at least since the previous episode, that he was Armand. Ethnically, he doesn't fit in with what Armand is. Armand is very much a Ukrainian, 16-year-old Ukrainian boy with incredibly flaming red hair. His red hair is constantly spoken about. And so they decided to, mix it up a little with the casting. I love the actor that they got from him. He's great. But it's just another switcheroo that they pull in this series, and I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it as long as the story remains as good as it has been. But it is then that Louis says this is the vampire Armand. He's the love of my life. Now let's talk about Europe. And him and Claudia go to Europe, and he starts bringing out photo albums about the Theatre des Vampires. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. It should have been more French, but it is what it is. And so ends an excellent season finale, an excellent season 1. My only complaint is that it was 7 episodes. That really just drove me nuts. I don't think there's so much to analyze as much as there is just to appreciate. I appreciate this finale as a work of art, and I really just cannot wait to intake it. Now, the good news is that even though it's been getting like not so great ratings on AMC, it's actually accredited as bringing in 11 million more subscribers to AMC Plus, which means it is a success, which means we can hope to probably get a season 3 and some other things going on. So that is wonderful. I'm so into this. I really wonder what they're gonna do with everything. They made an Akasha and an Enkiel reference for you book readers. They actually did that. They said those who must be guarded, those who must be kept. They bring that up. Marius is watching them right now. They're being kept. And so I really hope they're able to get to Queen of the Dam, and we're able to hear the vampire Lestat, his story. Just this is opening up a whole new world that we can experience, and I'm all about it. But the real question is, what did you think of the season finale of Anne Rice's interview with a vampire? Please let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, share, and certainly subscribe to kill me like one of your French girls. Don't worry, I'm going to be hitting you up with other analysis reviews of horror as this year comes to an end. It has been a beautiful one reviewing this show. It is truly my honor. Until next time, ta-ta.